I saw this article and it was going over something that the Netflix CEO stated. He may be onto something. I'm not 100% convinced that he is correct, but I don't think he's necessarily 100% off base. And I'll go to this article from Bounding into Comics. Netflix CEO says movie theater system is an outdated concept, believes streamer is saving Hollywood. Now, I'm not going to necessarily go out on the limb and say that the streaming services are saving Hollywood. I mean, I guess you could make an argument for that, but I'm not sure that that is the case. So let's get into this article. Even the company's biggest cheerleader, Netflix CEO, or ever the company's biggest cheerleader, Netflix CEO, Ted Sarandos, believes that not only is the overall concept of the movie theater experience completely outdated, but that the streaming giant's disruption of traditional release norms is actually saving the Hollywood industry. Now, like I said, I'm not 100% convinced. I'm not going to say unequivocally, yes, this is, end all be all, this is it. But I'm going to I guess I'll make the argument that he may be onto something, not necessarily in Hollywood being saved by streaming services, but maybe there is something to be said for these streaming services. Maybe they are doing something for a lot of these Hollywood films. What that is, you can make your different arguments. This is what I've said before. This is something I brought up. And this was dealing with that potential Star Wars TV show that George Lucas had written 60 episodes for. I had said if they had made these and put them out in theaters like once a month for 60 months, they would have made a killing, a absolute killing. I think theaters can survive. I think they just have to change their tactics and do something different. And maybe allowing for independent studios to be released on a broader scale would actually be one of those things that would kind of bolster movie theaters. Like imagine if movie theaters had a partnership with independent studios and they said, look, you make a movie that's good enough, we'll have our people go view it. If they like it, we'll consider putting this, small budget movie in all of our movie theaters pending some audience test scores. And I know major studios do this exact thing, but I'm saying it this way because a lot of these smaller studios don't necessarily have the money to do what the major studios have done. So maybe this could be a way to bridge the gap. And this could be something that a lot of these movie theaters could do in conjunction with these smaller studios and probably garner bigger audiences. Because I think what's happening is Hollywood has become such a big giant that has been on top for so long. I think to some degree, they have the idea that they can't lose. And so sometimes they put out things that are subpar and there's a backlash from the audience because the audience is like, no, we actually don't like this. So I think that may happen. Okay, let's go on. Sarandos, who served as Netflix chief content officer for slightly over 2 decades before being promoted to his current role in 2020, offered this bold progress report while speaking with Time Magazine editor-in-chief Sam Jacobs during the recent 2025 Time 100 Gala and Summit. Have you destroyed Hollywood? Jacobs asked to open their time together. per recaps of the discussion provided by the Hollywood Reporter and Variety. No, replied Sarando, we're saving Hollywood. Now, that also may be somewhat of a grandiose statement, right? We're saving Hollywood. Is that the case? Are they actually saving Hollywood? You can make arguments on both ends. They've added something to Hollywood. I would say it that way. I don't know if I would necessarily say they're saving Hollywood. And here's another thing. What if Hollywood, like, the assumption is always what is what will always be. Maybe Hollywood won't always be on top. Maybe Hollywood will transition or go away, and the independent space will be called something else. Something else will take over. That's a possibility as well. It doesn't mean that movies and entertainment will straight up go away, but maybe it just transitions. From there offering his thoughts on just why Netflix is currently thriving while the traditional studio system is struggling to survive, the CEO asserted Netflix is a very consumer-focused company. Now, I will say this is where places like Netflix do win, because they have a direct-to-consumer model and they have immediate feedback. When a movie comes out, if the movie is good, then they're going to get millions of people that stream this movie. And if the movie is bad, they will know immediately. Turn my light up a little bit. They will know immediately. It will be like, yo, this movie is not good. It is not garnered much traction. People are not gravitating toward this, so let's move on to something else. And also, I don't know if you've had this experience. I've had the experience where a show will come out. Maybe you and your friends and some other people are all talking about this show. It's great. You know, a lot of people watching it, and then it gets cut short because of viewership, Nielsen ratings and viewership. Netflix and other streaming services have bypassed the guesswork. They know immediately when something is working. We really do care that we deliver the program to you in a way that you want to watch it. And look, you know I don't do the complaining and negative stuff on my channel. That's not what I'm about. But this is just objectively true. A lot of the old movie studios and content houses have not seemed to understand, or they do not seem to understand that, if fans reject what you've given them, don't do it again. Don't keep doing this thinking that you're going to force fans to like what you put out. That's not how this works. The fans will let you know what they like, and that's what you give them. He continued, we really do care that we deliver the program to you in a way you want to watch it. And it is a program that you love and desire. So we don't let a lot of other outside forces get in the way of that. And duh, right? What the fans want is what you give them. If this is a show they like and they like this show in this way, give them that show. To this end, Sarandos then pointed to the ongoing decline of global box office polls and asked, what does that say? What is the consumer trying to tell us? That they'd like to watch movies at home? Thank you. No, I don't think that's what's going on personally. I think what the consumer is saying is the things that are going to the box office are not the things that we want to watch. And I think that's evidenced by the movies that do make a big splash. I talked about last week or the week before last, Godzilla -1. That was a movie with a small budget that did big numbers because word of mouth. One person saw it and said, yo, this movie is dope. And the next person went to see it based off that recommendation, and so on and so forth. And it seems like movie studios don't understand. If you put out a movie, people don't like the content, you took a gamble. Some things will work and some won't. Don't repeat that thinking it's going to work a second time. That's just not how this works. Sometimes I think in Hollywood, they treat it like a YouTube channel, right? Like, I don't have to make money off this YouTube channel. I don't make any money off this YouTube channel, but I have a regular job. Whether you watch 10 billion hours or you don't watch at all, I enjoy doing this. And I'm going to put out videos. Some are going to be liked, some are not going to be liked. But if my channel was based on what you like, then when you started watching something in mass, I would have to take an account of, okay, why did they watch this? This is what they want more of, and this is what I'm going to show them. So in that regard, I think Hollywood is kind of treating the box office like YouTube. Like they think, oh, we don't need to make money on this. We're just going to put out whatever we want. Well, no, actually, you do need to make money on this. And it is your duty to give the fans what they want if you want that value exchange. The studios and the theaters are duking it out, over trying to preserve this 45-day window that is completely out of step with the consumer experience of just loving a movie. The CEO Open. We're in a period of transition. Folks grew up thinking, I want to make movies on a gigantic screen and have strangers watch them, and to have them play in theater for 2 months and people cry and sold out shows it's an outdated concept. I'm not sure I agree that it's an outdated concept. Again, I think maybe this article may be oversimplifying the issue. I think it's multifaceted, and I think it has way more to do with what these studios are offering and or not offering to fans, and that's a bigger deal than what they're bringing up in this article. Outdated concept. Pressed by Jacobs as to whether he thought making movies for movie theaters for the communal experience was an outmoded idea, Sarandos affirmed, I think it is for most people, not for everybody. This is what I think. I think you take any popular movie on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Apple TV Plus, the ones that are specifically made for like the successful ones that everybody loves. I think you could take those same movies, put those same movies on the big screen, and people would love them. And it would make a lot of money because it's about the content. And I think that's the issue. The issue is these movie studios are not putting out the content that people like. And I think therein lies the problem. On that regard, like I said, I've said it a bunch of times. I think I disagree with Sarandos on that end, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody in the comments, you have a contrary idea or more context to offer. Please do elaborate. I could be wrong about this. If you're fortunate to live enough in Manhattan, and you can walk to a multiplex and see a movie, that's fantastic, he argued. Most of the country cannot. I see his point. You're living in a major city where everything is within walking distance. I'm from Brooklyn, grew up in Brooklyn. So yeah, you're more inclined to live somewhere where you can walk to a theater. That is, more of a probability than not. But that I don't know how much that has to do with the decline in movie going. Again, I think it is the content. I think that is the biggest problem. And I think Netflix and other streaming services have been able to circumvent this to some degree because they don't have the overhead costs in marketing, to push a movie that's in a movie theater to make as much money as possible. So they can release something on Netflix. It doesn't work. They do all their analytics. They try to figure out why it didn't work. Move on to the next thing. Put that out. That worked. Okay, why did that work? Boom. Give people more of that. I think The streaming model is more nimble in that regard, but it doesn't mean that movie theaters can't work. It's just that the proper adjustments aren't being made. Closing out his thoughts on this particular part of their discussion, Sarandos told Jacobs that while the ongoing implosion of the theater model does not bother him, what would bother me is if people stop making great movies. And bingo, this is the real point. Making great movies. A great movie will get people in the seats of any movie theater in droves. That, to me, that is the key. If we want people to watch them the way we want them to watch them, he declared, then people won't be able to make movies anymore because there won't be a business for it. Yeah. If you want people to watch them the way you want them to watch them, you're going to have a problem, because what you want for the audience might not be what the audience wants. And that's where you got to make a concession. Okay, I tried to do this. People don't like this. Maybe I do this on the side for a niche audience, but for the mainstream, this is what I have to put out. This is what people want. I think, like anything, content is king. And if these movie studios don't get it together and don't give the people the content they want, I think they will continually have struggles. I think that has more to do with what they're giving the audience versus the medium by where the audience watches, said movie or show or whatever.